When I was drinking really heavily and in trouble, I mean real trouble, in 2014 and 2019, I couldn't get any help. I couldn't. Simple as that. I wouldn't give me any diazepam or anything to help me get off the drink. However, I self-medicated, and because I had a previous seizure, only one, I was so frightened of going into this withdrawal. And every time I started to withdraw, the shakes and things, I used to think, oh God, what's going to happen to me? I used to feel really frightened. And I'm very confident now I'm sober. I was always very confident as a young man. Well, not as a teenager, but when I got into my 20s. And it took everything away from me. My ability to think straight, my physical strength, mental strength. It really hammered away my anxiety. I was so anxious all the time, I couldn't even open the post, There wasn't anybody in the flat, I wouldn't speak to people, I used to try and avoid parents' calls. And the whole world was just, it caved in on me, That's what I felt like. It felt like my world was shrinking to a point of no return, really. I just couldn't cope. I really couldn't cope. But no one would listen. I used to keep ringing the doctor up, can you help me, can you help me, can you get some diazepam delivered? Because the only thing I'd had in the past that got me off it was this medication, you see. And in the end, I ended up seriously ill. I sometimes wonder what would happen if I'd got them meds, and how maybe my body wouldn't have been as damaged. But it's a miracle I'm here, to be fair. I did recover, but I still got damaged to my liver. Fortunately, I didn't smoke. I was really fit when I was young, so that helped my recovery. And I was so determined to get well again that I pushed and pushed, No one knows what's around the corner. The thing is, I would say to you is, if you can stop without any serious medical issues, you're not dependent like I was, then stop, because it can soon go from being a habitual heavy drinker to being an active addict. And when you get that stage 4, I would call it, where you've fallen off the cliff, it's very difficult to get back again. And a lot of people with decompensated liver disease like I had will never compensate again, which means that your liver functions okay. My liver function is actually normal now. It's a silent killer. That's what it's called, a silent killer. Because a lot of people don't know they've got liver damage until they get a scan for something else. It's very difficult to get these things, scans, and the NHS is on its knees, isn't it? It's very, very busy. And there's a lot of drinkers. It's getting worse, the problem. For various reasons. Maybe it's a recession, maybe it's longer opening hours, maybe it's cheaper pints in certain chains of pubs, it's what I'm on about, Wetherspoons, who open early, close late. It's much cheaper than that, I drink. I think it's about a third of the price in some places. Does that encourage more people to drink? I'm not sure. But either way, if you've got the opportunity to get off it, get off it. And stay off it if you can, because I'm telling you now, your world will collapse and you'll just be living a very lonely, depressive life. And I did that for years, and I really hated myself for that, And you shouldn't hate yourself, because it is an illness. People will criticise you and say, it's all your fault, you shouldn't have done it to yourself. But it's not as easy as that when you're in the middle of it all and you can't see a way out. I know some very clever people who've died through alcoholism, very talented people. It doesn't discriminate. It will take you down fast and snow off a dike. And the point of no return is when you start to self-medicate. When you become a top-up drinker, that's the point of no return. You just cannot get back, and you're so frightened to stop because of the withdrawal that you will have to drink more. And that's the real danger when you start to self-medicate. And that's all you're doing. You're trying to keep your brain steady, your body steady, because having uncontrollable shakes when you don't eat properly, nothing goes right when you're drinking to excess, and your whole world will collapse around you, It's not a good place to be. If you need some help, get in touch with me. I'll put a link in the description. Please be careful over this weekend, because it's going to be very warm, very pleasant. There'll be a lot of people out boozing. A few years ago it would have been me. I would have been out by now when I was fit and healthy enough to drink heavily. I mean, in the end I could hardly move. But in my 30s and early 40s I was still part of the big drinking culture, going out every day, days off hitting the West End and fine beer gardens in Essex and all that. And the earlier you start in the day means that the more you're going to drink. You can't just have 2 and 9 o'clock in the morning and think, oh, that's it for the day. Because you get the taste, don't you? And you're going to have some more 10 and 11, 12 and all those hours. You'll be just topping up. And the next day you're going to feel hideous. So concentrate on yourself, look after yourself, because no one else is going to look after you. You need to have a strong reason to come off the booze. You need to have an incentive, and you need to want to do it for yourself. You must want to do it for yourself. That's the main thing. If you haven't got that, and I didn't have that when I was younger, then you've pretty much gone. A lot of people will just drink themselves to death because they think that's the best way forward, because they enjoy a little bit of a buzz. But when you're in a hospital bed and you're dying, it's a different effing story.